Okay, welcome to Stampscapes Lab. We're going to try to do something on this piece of pre-printed designer paper by Deanna Tubb-Sedillo. We're going to try to do something. I'm still coming up with it in my head here. I'm going to try to cram a lot of information into this piece right here. So we have 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 standard quarter page type of format here. And I want to use something with these, or do something with these art foamies. These art foamies versions of the stamps are larger than, the typical rubber stamp version. Okay, so this one right here is roughly about 4 1/4 or so. So you can see these larger versions of this same tree trunk right here. So a lot of times what I'm doing with these larger trunks is I'm using them on larger format pieces, but I want to try it on this one right here. And I thought we could potentially do something kind of interesting here. It's an experiment. I don't know. What can I say? These pieces by Deanna, I don't know. For some reason, they kind of trigger kind of a... I mean, I'm always kind of experimenting, but I don't know. For some reason, I do different things with these designer papers than I do with the rubber stamp versions. I guess it's because this, a lot of the scenario, I guess we can call it, is already kind of set with the backgrounds already established, light and dark, etc. So I'm kind of, I'm thinking of ways to potentially maximize, the given background in here. Okay, now there's usually some sort of, kind of dominant focal point, I guess we can say, even if it's kind of this amorphic type of thing without, some kind of specific orb like that, there's usually a lighter area within the forms on these background papers. So I don't know. It makes me think about it, and I think there's, I don't know, a lot of kind of ideas come to mind. I'm holding this down to allow this ink to transfer a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I think of different things to do, and I'm seeing different compositions, whatever, coming off of my desk here. Okay, now see, we have the lighter areas showing right through the tree, so we'll even that out. But what I'll attempt to do is just make it appear as though the light is shining on that side of the tree trunk. Okay, now right here, I thought I would go like this, but I also want to do kind of another tree up here, so I guess we can go like this right here. And I'm kind of debating on how I'm going to do this one right up here without these two trees looking like they're merging together. I'd have to do this one a little bit lighter, maybe? I don't know. Okay, so I'm thinking about doing kind of a forest floor down here that's kind of being illuminated for a horseback rider. Okay, but here, I don't know. Maybe I won't do another. Yeah, maybe I'll just stamp this one up high. I think if I did two trunks like right here, and then again right up here, like this one is a little bit farther back. I don't know. I think I might get too much merging of the two forms, where it looks like, wait a minute, what, that looks like a weird trunk. It's like become one or something like that. I tell you, I'll do it like this. Let's go over here a little bit more. Like about like that. Stamping it higher up, and then I can create this shadow and then light down in this area. And I'll stand up and get a little bit more leverage here. Okay, something like that. It already kind of looks interesting, just as is. We have a long ways to go here, but we'll do it in short order. I'm talking about relatively speaking. Okay, so I want to do this kind of scenario where these are like these gigantic sequoias or something like that. So I'll have a little bit of foliage coming in here as well. That from whatever intermediate branches. Let's just go ahead and do it right now. You know, sometimes I add in my tones and everything like that before I stamp the closest of imagery, you know, the foreground. But let's just do it right now. All right, there we have it, like that. All right, we're kind of framing off everything, the scenario. And let's go with our sedge filler down below, right in this area. I'm gonna go, I was gonna go with the lighter version of it, but let's go standard version right up here. I don't know, I was thinking it might not show up if I stamp it off first and go for a second impression right in there, that it might not be dark enough. Okay, so I don't know if these are gigantic skies. They might be. Let's see what it looks like when we stamp our figure in there. All right, Lady Rider. Maybe not. I was gonna stamp her way down here where these gigantic trunks, but I think we've just changed the entire scale of this piece. If you stamp her in the background, then these can be just standard sized trees. Again, I'm wiping off the feet a little bit so that it looks like they're, you know, the horse is standing in the grass. All right. You got a lot of kind of heavy mood and atmosphere in this piece, which is the strength of Deanna's work. It's when they look real kind of laden with I don't know, atmosphere and emotion. When I see that in her pieces, I think, okay, she was really grooving with that piece because I know the feel of it. Okay, so black and white media here. This one's a white pastel pencil. It's a Carbothello. It applies really nicely onto matte or even like a semi-gloss surface, okay? And then the black colored pencil works really well for me. I mean, you can use like a black pastel pencil too, but black just goes over everything. But the white colored pencil over the dark area, I don't find it gets really good coverage, so I like something a little bit softer. Okay, so we're going to add in some lighting down here, okay, and that's what the pastel pencil is for. But on the sides of the trees, trunks, facing the light, they'll be a little bit more illuminated, and then the darker edges right in here, left side, right side, this one, will be darkened in, okay? And this is how you kind of model your forms and make them look more dimensional by altering the lighting on them. Now, these tree trunks are already you know, a large portion of them is already in a darker area. So we're just kind of we can see the cloud going right through the trunk. So I'm trying to I wouldn't say eradicate that completely, but I don't want it to be so obvious that that's what's happening right in here. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll alter the contrast a little bit. From the background to the foreground. So in other words, where you see this kind of dark cloud kind of going right through here, I'm darkening the paper like this, or shading, I'm adding that shadow back there. So that edge kind of just merges, and I'll go a little bit darker right around here too. But again, I'm not doing it just to absolutely eradicate, you know what I mean? Because I don't want these trees just to become just solid black where you can't see anything else. But I'll see if it does the trick, I'll go darker accordingly. But we'll also kind of illuminate as well. So we're going to highlight and illuminate and kind of obscure those forms within the body of the tree. Okay. All right, now, let's see, let me go a little bit darker. Kind of towards the base of the tree, which I like to do. It kind of anchors the tree down a little bit. There are some temperature changes in here, and I mean, I can add that a little bit into the piece with some additional colored pencils as well. Okay, going a little bit darker. Kind of just reading the piece, figuring out if I need to go a little bit darker or what. Okay, so right in here, if we did an angle, so my shadow, okay, I usually go to the center of my light sources just as a reference point. But see, at the base of this tree trunk right here, it's almost like a vertical shadow area, but it's going at a little bit of an angle like this, okay? Like right here. That's the shadow that light source would be casting. So you can come down here in this area down below like this and just kind of, I wouldn't give it too, strong of a shadow at any single time. I'm just kind of adding it a little bit, but it's roughly, now I am coming out in here because it's, I want it to be a graceful kind of shadow. But adding that shadow will anchor the piece down. It gives the tree trunk kind of an opacity and a visual weight, okay? By saying that, if something's being backlit, it's going to be casting a shadow down this way. So that's what this serves as. An anchoring kind of element. All right. Now let's go with, we can go back to the black, but let's add in a little bit of lighting in here. See, So just I'm kind of breaking up that line of that background cloud a little bit by going up into the lighter area like this. So that's the white pastel pencil. It can kind of fill in a little bit. See this? I can see this dark cloud going across right in here. I don't need to eradicate that whole area, but see this right here? I'll just kind of break it up a little bit right here. So see that right there? It's not quite as obvious. There's a little bit of a darker shadow right there, but that's not too bad. It's not, you know, totally obtrusive of an element. All right, so see like that. And then on this side, this is the really strong element coming in there. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of go right across it like that. I kind of add some and I just kind of wipe it off with my finger a little bit. All right. Let's see. I need to sharpen my pencil here. I'll be back. Get that taken care of. All right. I have a sharper pastel pencil. I just sharpen it in the standard electric, pencil sharpener. All right, that's giving me a much better application. Where I'm trying to go over the top of some of the colored pencil, it doesn't really apply very easily because it's like wax, you know. That being said, maybe I should have used it first. I don't know. Okay. So we'll go in and we'll add in some lighting being cast by the moon. The moon has a warmth to it, so I'm just reflecting it with white. I don't have a a different color like a beige pen or so, yellow or something like that. So that being said, I mean, if you have some pastels or chalks, you can use it in here. Okay, now this is the line for my shadow right here, so we'll add in a little bit of highlighting in here up to that shadow line. All right, that's a little bit rough right there in terms of my application. So I'm just going to use a paper towel here, and I'll just kind of smudge that and kind of blend it in a little bit, or blend it out or whatever. All right, so you see this lighting right coming in here like that? I'll try to model it a little bit more with a little bit of variation in there like that. I will be spray sealing this when complete, being that I'm using pastels on here. Okay. Let's add some of this up into our sky a little bit too. The sky doesn't really need it or anything like that. It's already, all this is kind of been established, the lighting in here, but You know, I mean, this would kind of, being that you're using this, it might unify it with the lower area a touch, you know, using that same, whatever neutral white in there, as opposed to having it all kind of warm like that. You can add on a little bit of the element of this, just because it matches what you're using down here, so you bring it up into that upper area like that. All right, let's see. Let's work on a few little lighter touches within the our tree form like that. Okay. Now, let's go in. I think I'm going to do a lot of highlighting with my warmer, whatever, pale orange pen, as well as my white one. Okay, I'm looking at some of these areas here. I see that going across there a little bit too prominently, so I'm going to subdue that a touch. And I think that is about it. I think we've blended pretty adequately in here. So that foreground stands out against the background, and it doesn't look like, you know, the foreground's transparent or something. Okay, adding a few little highlights on the side of the tree facing the light, but I usually put a few more highlights against that lighter area right there. So I'll add more highlights like right here, because that's kind of the lighting going on in the background, or from the light source. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's how it would read kind of in nature, but on here it just kind of, it blends in with the forms a little bit more when I put light next to light. So this being light right here represents reflected light, and of course the moon represents light, the light source. Okay, so see this right here, this was kind of an illuminated part of that trunk, and I added in a little bit more highlighting in that illuminated area. Yeah, because it stands to reason there'd be more kind of highlights on an object where the light is shining on it more directly. Or just stronger. All right, and down here in this grassy area, this is the same sort of lighting that you can do on water. You know, if it's shimmering off of the surface of a water area, like a lake or whatever. I mean, the horse wouldn't be on there, but could be on the other side of the pond or something. But you just kind of have this kind of trail of highlighting like that. All right, so white pigment ink for a kind of misty, kind of imagery incorporating element. And this will be in the form of, or whatever, it represents fog or mist on this midnight scenario right here. Okay, so biggest key is you don't want to add in too much ink at any given time, so you kind of blot off a lot of it where it's kind of dry on here. And the sensibility is that you're adding in, very almost like a powder to the page, okay? So, and you want to build it up nice and gently, especially on this matte paper because it's going to transfer onto that a lot faster. So this is like a few taps and it's like you barely see anything, okay? But after a few, it's like now the horse's kind of leg areas, it's a little bit more light, like it's in a little bit of fog or something like that. I'm going to bring some of this up around my moon. It's Deanna's moon, but, when you get those papers, it's yours now, to work with into your scenario. But thanks to Deanna, she did all the work for us. So if you want to do something fast, you don't have to do. We don't have to do all that. All right. So see this kind of this misty moon right there. And then let's add a little bit down here, the base of this tree as well. The base of the tree is darker, but you can still go into it with the white like this, but do it very kind of methodically, so you're not adding a big blob again. And you're just kind of building this fog up, not with one application, but you're just kind of layering kind of like a transparent application of white, or translucent, I should say. So it's like that mist right there is like a layers of very, very dry mist or ink, okay? It's not done in one tapping, you're doing it in 15 taps or something like that. So it's almost like you're just like building up like a powdery chalk right there. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit on the edge of this tree too, like that. And let's go in and add in a few extra foreground elements or impressions. It'll be one element, but it'll be several impressions of it, I think. These are the reeds. And then I tilt it over a little bit like that. And we'll frame off the left side. So it's like this, 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 and it's like that, that, and this one's like that. It's almost like laying on its side to get that angle. All right. So there we have it there. Pretty quick and easy scene. It's not easy to do that background for Deanna. She's got to work on that and develop and everything like that. But for us, all we need to do is use it. So she's done a lot of the, or most of the hard work for us. Let me see. Let me get rid of that line a little bit more. Like that, I'm eradicating that going through there. All right. So that is that. Misty Moonlit Night by Deanna and Kevin. It's a all these pieces are like collaborations done on the papers, right? So anyways, hope you liked it. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you, Deanna, for supplying us with some really fun background papers to work with. Let's see, I'm trying to get as close as I can without this camera going out of focus. All right, thanks again for watching.